Hello everybody and welcome back to live coverage of round 7, 8 and 9 of Season 2 of the BSR Carrera Cup here at Daytona International Speedway in Daytona, Florida. Scott Woodwis and Marcus Narris here to call all the action, and while Marcus took over the mantle in race 1, of course it was a very emphatic win for Alain Tessier, who just stole it on the line to grab the advantage going into the second race here. Of course it's going to be a reverse grid for race number 2 of the evening, and we'll go through the reverse top 10 in a moment. But Marcus, of course, you were able to commentate on that whole race. You're best placed to talk us through what happened on that one. What for you were the key points from race 1 tonight here at Daytona?
There are a couple of key items really that you need to look at. The first one being inconsistency. As we discussed it before the start of the race, the key guys in the race are the guys that bring it to the end, and what we saw in that first race was a couple of very, very quick pedalers, a couple of very quick drivers, just dropping it, just getting a little bit excited, getting a little bit carried away, getting on the gas too soon, and just throwing the races away. Certainly Michael Stephen was very fortunate that where he made his error, there was nothing but a sea of grass for him to drive into. That luck didn't extend to Ashley Sutton, who again got a little bit wide and a little bit too much steering angle and a little bit too much gas, and unfortunately where he lost it, there was nothing but brick walls, and it really did end his race there and then. So certainly consistency. The other thing that stood out was the intelligent drivers got the results. It's very rare that people accuse racing drivers of being intelligent, but Tessier really did think that win through and carried it out perfectly. You could see by about lap 4 that he'd stopped racing, really wasn't trying to get in front, and to be fair, he just very, very simply outthought Ian D. Smythe and really stole the win from him right at the end.
Excellent stuff. So, of course, moving forwards then to race number 2 of the evening, round 8 of Season 2 of the BSR Carrera Cup. Let's take a very quick look at how the grid will line up for the second race of the evening. So, of course, for race reverse grid of the top 10, so we'll take you through that right now. So, after the reversal of the top 10, we have on the front row of the grid, it's going to be Paul Thurston in car number 50 that's going to start the race from the front of the grid, and he'll have Jose Almeida alongside him on the front row. Tian Dames is going to be in row 2 with Tony McCallum alongside him in 4th. William Botha and Matt Malone will start on row 3 in 5th and 6th respectively. 7th and 8th will be Stefan Hug and Michael Stephen, and then back on row 5 it's going to be Ian D. Smythe and your race 1 winner Alain Tessier. So we've got another about 2.5 minutes left in practice. Currently Matt Malone tops the times, now 1 minute 45.525 in the number 22 machine. But who is from this top 10 reversal grid? Who, Marcus, are you looking at that top 10? Who are you expecting to possibly cause a surprise? Because you've got some of the top guys anyway. Obviously, do tend to come through the field and let their true pace show through. But who from that top 10 reversal do you think is really going to cause an upset and possibly grab themselves their first win of the championship if they haven't already?
There's a couple of drivers I'll be keeping an eye on. I'll be interested to see how Matt Malone goes. You know, as you said, he's topping the timesheets now, and in that wheel damage racing, machine, he's looked good. He's looked racy all night tonight. So if he can get away, get a good position, he could certainly. I'm not sure win, but certainly have a very good result. Also, there's a bit of an unknown quantity. I'll be keen to see what Tony McCallum does in the number 29 car as well. He's not someone we've seen a great deal of, and he's really going to find himself in the thick of it. So it'll be interesting to see how he reacts and how he responds to that.
If you want an alternative onboard view from actually Matt Malone's car, he does stream regularly on Twitch, so head over to twitch.tv/Showdown1983. Go and give him a shout, and obviously be sure to tell him that the guys will be here. So looking at some more of the top drivers coming up, Matt Malone still tops the times, the only man in the 1 minute 45s. The rest of the pack catching up, including Gary Tall, Ian D. Smythe in 2nd and 3rd, Michael Stevens, William Botha. So the majority of the top 10 guys are up there setting top 10 times. Haven't seen anything come through yet from Alain Tessier, unless I scroll down the warm-up times. Can't see anything just yet, so either he feels quite comfortable with his car at the moment, or possibly just isn't bothering going out to take a bit more of a break, because he knows that there's no point going out because his car is perfect enough already to his liking. Look, Alain Tessier, how he drove that race in race 1, Marcus, from what you saw, how easy or how difficult is it going to be for him to start making moves through the field in the early stages? He's currently actually popped in a time just now of 1:47.311 to go 10th, but I suspect that that's obviously not at full pace, and he's possibly got that in race trim rather than hot lapping. But in terms of his chance to come into the field, do you think it's going to be relatively easy from 10th on the grid, or will he have quite a task getting himself to the front of the field, knowing that the faster drivers are around him as well?
I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge, really, to get away, unless you're very, very confident that you're significantly quicker on that infield section. Any moves that you make on the banking, taking advantage of that draft, if people can stay within about 8/10, 9/10 of a second of you through that midfield section, then they're just going to eat that gap up again on the bank section on the following lap. So unless you're fairly confident you can put a second, maybe 1.2 seconds on a guy going through the infield, anyone you pass is just going to pass you right back.
Well, the warm-up session has now finished, so we are moving off to the race session, of course. And as he had in race number 1, it is going to be another rolling start. Here, looking at the weather conditions, of course, on this 3.56 mile track, it's partly cloudy with 78 degrees Fahrenheit, a northerly wind of 2 miles an hour, and race real-time humidity of 55%. It's going to be another 9-lap race here on the road course once again. Rather intriguing circuit. Of course, Daytona's been around for a long time. Of course, hosts great events such as the Daytona 500, the Coca-Cola. I'm trying to think what the length of the race is on that one, but there is another race they have at Daytona as well in NASCAR, and also, of course, the legendary Rolex 24 at Daytona, which this year was the part of the very first race of the all-new Tudor United Sports Car Championship, the merger between the American Le Mans Series and the Rolex Grand Am Sports Car Series. So definitely the first time that we saw LMP2 spec machinery go up against the Daytona prototypes here at this awesome road course oval layout. So the cars now making their way off onto the formation lap, led by Paul Thurston. Of course, now he'll be following the pace car around. Looking at some of the other guys down the rest of the field in 11th and 12th, we've got Matthew Dalton and Ellis Stevens running on row 6. Clark Preck and Nick McCarron up there in row 7. Row 8 is going to be Edmund K. Friedman and Robert Plumley. Row 9 we have Robert Burton and James Hickson. And then rounding out the top 20, we've got William Pienaar and Ashley Sutton down in 20th. Possibly not a man to get too much practice over the course of the week because of his racing commitments in the MSA British Formula 4 Championship this past weekend, supporting the BTCC on the Toka package at the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. A few other quick drivers down there as well. Just behind in 21st, we've got Daniel Hunt in his typical green machine. And then moving forward further down the field, if I can scroll down a little bit more, Stanimir Zuzov down in 27th place, and then Gary Tool 24th also. So some pretty quick drivers out of position for this race, Marcus. Who are you expecting out of that lot to possibly start charging through? Because we know how quick Ashley Sutton can be once you get him wound up, and of course really gets moving in his machine as well. So the fact that he's had less practice because of his Royal Racing equipment, do you think that's possibly been the reason why he's possibly not on the pace to some of the front-running guys today?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he's on the pace. The pace is there. It's just that consistency again. So certainly, if he can keep out of trouble, he's got the pace to really upset some of the quick guys in this race. And coming from 20th place, he already would have made up a couple of places, because it looks like Robert Burton and Willem Pienaar are starting from the pits for this race, obviously worried about what might happen. So yeah, if he can keep it clean, he's got every chance, but he needs to keep it clean, to be honest with you.
Well, keeping it clean is certainly something that all these guys will look to do, especially here on these oval sections, because it's so tricky. If you watch, obviously, NASCAR here as well, of course, these cars running 2x2. If you're running in quite a large pack, you have to really trust the cars around you in terms of where they are in terms of position and speed, and not have somebody suddenly jump on the brakes, especially if you're coming down towards the bus stop and are just not expecting anyone to brake as early as some people could do. But it is going to be a high-speed run through, once again, through the bus stop as we get set for another 9 laps of the 3.5 mile Roval. So now the cars are starting to continue run a little bit quicker at pace in 2x2. Remember that pace, of course, once the pace car pulls off effectively the front row of Paul Thurston and Jose Almeida will take over the pace. And of course, poleman Paul Thurston dictates exactly when they go. But they're now starting to form up again 2 by 2. Just a reminder of the top 10. Thurston and Almeida on row 1. Darmes and McCallum on row 2. There's Bota and Malone on row 3. Hoog and Stephen on row 4. And Ian D. Smythe and race 1 winner Alain Tessier rounding out the top 10. Can he charge through? Or are the likes of the cars around him, Ian D. Smythe and Stefan Hoog, going to make it difficult for him? Of course, remember, Hoog and Smythe are in a championship battle already as we come in towards round number 8. The pace slows down, the cars start to form up, but now 2 by 2 once again, and much more closer pack. And Paul Thurston will be watching very closely to wait for that Mustang pace car to pull back into pit lane. As they head down towards the start and finish straight there, pace car literally about to pull off. There it goes. Now Paul Thurston will be able to start judging the pace and wait for that green flag. The lights are out now. Thurston hits the throttle, and round number 8 of the BSR Carrera Cup Season 2 is underway. Decent start from Thurston as he already pulls to the inside line to cover the lead. Almeida holds on to second place, but that looks like around the outside. I think that's Tony McCallum trying to go grab third place, and he has done it. Better traction on the outside, and Bota may have gone with him as well as they run down towards the horseshoe for the first time. But Thurston gets the ultimate hole shot. He's going to lead into turn number 3 as they round the right-hander. And there's a huge accident at the back, 2 or 3 cars up in the air, almost end over end. So, unfortunately, the start not completely clean, but so far, Marcus, great start for Thurston. He's pulling away already. Yeah,
great start for Thurston, and I'm just looking at that incident. Unfortunately, that was Gary Toole again in the Epicure Banana being caught up in the shenanigans there. Nick McCarran was also involved. I'm just having a look to see if I can work out what happened. Yeah, McCarran's just got it on the grass, and he's hit the wall and spun back across the circuit and collected Gary Toole. So, shocking luck for Gary Toole again. It's 2 races in a row now he's been hit, and he's not going to be very, very happy about that. Yeah, a shame as McCarran recovers and keeps going.
Off the banking, what would be turn 2 for the first time onto the back straight, and currently it is now Thurston who still leads. Almeida closing in the slipstream. We've now got Darmes and I think also William Bota side by side, and I think somebody trying to recover, but they have managed to get it going again. And also looking quickly, just seeing that Ian D. Smythe and Stefan Hoog, and I think that's Stefan Hoog, but at least Ian D. Smythe at least had a great start, and he's jumping up through the field already, so an awesome pace as the leaders come down towards start and finish straight off the turn 4 banking for the first time. And looking back, we've now got Ian D. Smythe side by side. I think that is possibly with maybe Nick McCarran, but look at the leaders in front.
Yeah, and as we were saying, Matt Malone leads as they cross the start-finish line. You know, we said Malone is a quick guy, and all he needs is a chance, and he's making that chance pay. He's managed to use the draft, and he's got around the outside into turn 1, and he leads.
So an awesome start from Matt Malone with that 22 car, of course, but being hounded into the infield section by Thurston and Almeida. McCallum rounded that off in 4th. A&D Smythe, despite starting outside the top 10, has made up 6 positions and currently runs in 5th place. Michael Stevens 6th, then William Bota 7th. Tessier's up to 8th. Ashley Sutton in 1 lap has gone from 20th to 9th. An incredible 11 position change. As now I think is that possibly McCallum trying to go on the outside of Almeida. Couldn't make that one stick. He's dropped back slightly. I'll have to be careful not to fall into the clutches of Michael Stephen, just of Ian D. Smythe and Michael Stephen. Off of the road section, back onto the banking for the second time. And but Matt Malone holding his own at the front. He's definitely come on stronger than we saw him in Season 1. But of course, this update to the rough seems to be really suiting him, Marcus. He really has shown his true colours in his first few races of Season 2. And he really is showing himself as a proper front runner here in this championship.
Yeah, he really is enjoying this this track spec rough. He's really taken advantage of it, and he's gonna make hay while the sun shines. He's managing to maintain a gap to a certain extent as he goes through the bus stop again there, but he's being hunted down by Paul Thurston, who will be very, very keen to get that back. And I'm just wondering how long it will be before we see tactics come back into this again. One thing of note, Stefan Hoog, something has happened to Stefan in the first couple of laps. He's down in 14th place now, sitting behind Robert Plumley the last time I checked. So I didn't see what happened there, but Hoog down in 14th at the moment.
Looking at Alain Tessier, currently up to 8th place, just took it 8th place. William Bota. Bota's getting very late on the brakes, heading into turns 1 and 2, and he has got the outside pass almost done, but Tessier covers the inside line and keeps it in front to retain 8th position. So across the line they came, and Ashley Sutton's made up 2 more places since we last saw him. He's now into 7th spot, and the leaders are all over each other because Matt Malone's lost the lead, and I think that is possibly Paul Thurston has regained it once again as they head out to the horseshoe through the turn 4 kink and heading down towards the hairpin now of 5 and 6.
And Smythe looks to go up the inside there. He's trying to get back in the top 3. It's a great run already from E&D Smythe. They make contact inevitably, and Malone's off. He's in the barrier. I'm not quite sure who got the loose in there, but they certainly make contact side by side, and it spat Matt Malone into the barrier. So a bit of an incident there. We'll have to go back and have a look at that one.
Also, I did see that there were. I think we've also lost Ashley Sutton as well. So I did see there were 2 cars in the background taking a huge shortcut across the grass. So whether or not something happened just behind or not, I'm not entirely sure. But Matt Malone out of that race. Ashley Sutton also trying to recover. He's dropped down a few places, I think. But now looking exactly where he is, I think actually he's not too far behind. But he is trying to at least struggle back through the field. But looking back towards the front, it is Paul Thurston back in the lead, and it's the top 2 from the front row in the top 2 positions, back towards the front section once again. But E&D Smythe really has got the hammer down, as here comes Almeida to the outside. They run parallel down towards the straight, and look at that, Smythe grabbing the toe from Thurston as they come across the line. Almeida has his nose in front as they head down towards the very, very tricky braking zone. You're almost trail braking. Almeida again won't not let go of that position. Almeida holds the inside line. Smythe tries to go with him, forces him wide. An awesome late braking move from Smythe to get himself back up into second. Oh no, he almost got second place. Had to back out of it at the last minute. So he's dropped right back, and Alain Tessier is absolutely charging up to 4th spot and looking to get himself on the podium. Tony McCallum in 5th, and Tian Dames is in 6th place. Then we've got William Boto, Matthew Dalton, Stefan Hugg is back up to 8th spot. And as for Ashley Sutton, down in 17th because of that result. That incident earlier on. This is an awesome battle at the front, but E&D Smythe, what a charge he's had, and also Alain Tessier. These 2 guys looking to try and grab themselves another podium finish each, but they're certainly having to get through the traffic the hard way.
Yeah, we also lost Michael Stephen in that incident, so we lost a few of the faster drivers there. I've looked at it a couple of times. I've looked at it from Matt Malone's view, and unfortunately Matt's just turned in too early. There's nothing really E&D Smythe has done there. Malone's just turned in a little bit early, and they've got together, and unfortunately as Malone's ricocheted off the barrier, a couple of cars have tried to take avoiding action, and Ashley Sutton and Michael Stephen got together, and as a result both running well down the field now as the pressure mounts up front again, as Tessier in 4th. He's having a real good look at the back end of E&D Smythe now, Scott.
Here he comes to the outside. He's trying to get the advantage, but he's not in the draft at all, which means he's finding it a little bit difficult to try and pull alongside. He might be well do to try and get in. He will try and get the side draft as they come off the corner. And he's running at some 165 miles an hour, grabbing a small little toe now from Thurston in front. And Smythe is now into 2nd as they go across the stripe. So he's now got one more place to move up before he gets into the lead. Trying another late braking move down the outside. It's very ambitious if he can pull this one off. And let's see if he can get this done. He holds the outside line. And incredibly, he has done it. So E&D Smythe, with an awesome move to the outside of Paul Thurston, catches him by surprise and does lead in the 2nd race at Daytona here. So he's obviously means that Thurston has to try and work that one all over again to try and get himself back up into the position. Here comes Tessier behind. He's come up to try and make a move on Thurston. He was also lost a place to Jose Almeida in 2nd. So Thurston could be on danger of losing possibly 3 places in the space of 5 corners, Marcus.
Yeah, very good move by Smythe there, but I will be fairly honest and say if there was anybody but his teammate that he was trying to make that move around the outside, I honestly think that E&D Smythe will be picking bits of barrier out of his teeth about now, because Paul Thurston did him a huge favour there and got out of the way as Smythe swept across in front of him. And as I say, if anyone other than a teammate, I don't think they would have been that generous. But E&D Smythe, very aware of what's going on around him, and really taking advantage to make a great pass around the outside in turn 1 stick.
And he's already got the hammer down, trying to pull a gap now on 2nd place Jose Almeida. But the battle we really have to focus on now is, of course, that battle for 3rd place between Paul Thurston, who is now dropped to the final spot on the podium, and the hard-charging Alain Tessier. He's now going to try and push through. There is a lapped car in front of this pack as they head on to what is effectively the turn 3 banking on the oval. Holding the inside line, Tessier just sticking in the draft as they head through onto the pit straight once again. Here he comes.
Yeah, that's Halit Ertas up front, and he's not always the most aware when he's got traffic lapping him, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here as they move into the braking zone for turn 1.
Yeah, that has caused one or two problems back at Lime Rock Park, but as for Tessier, he's already got himself to the inside. He breaks that a little bit later and can't get it done because Ertas, as we said again, holding the inside line and forcing both Thurston and Tessier to go around him. So, as we predicted, Ertas not exactly being courteous in letting the leaders through as they head through the horseshoe once again. Top six at least have managed to get past him. And also Stefan Huggies, who is now 7th and trying to close in. He has got around the likes of William Botha, Matthew Dalton and Edmund K. Friedman as they round out the top 10. And here comes Tessier really pressuring on the back of Burston, and also Tony McCallum in the 29 closing in as well, and also Tian Darmes in the number 301. So it's becoming a 4-car scrap now for the final place on the rostrum. So far Thurston holds it, but the question is for how long, because Tessier is looking incredibly racy as they head on to the banking. Looks like Marcus might be lining up for a pass down towards the bus stop.
Yeah, I think absolutely he'll make a move here. Thurston was very early on the brakes in a couple of those braking zones, and he's allowed a gap to open up between that third place, between the second place car of Jose Almeida and himself. As Tessier makes the move around the outside, Thurston has to get on the brakes early and lets Tessier have the line into the bus stop. Now, of course, how much of a drive can Thurston get out of the bus stop? Can he stay close enough to Tessier that he can get in the draft and maybe look to cause him a problem, repass him going into turn 1 as it gets very, very, very close up front as we go into turn 1. You can see from Jose Almeida's car, he's definitely got the draft. Can he get close enough to Ian D. Smythe to make anything work here, Scott?
It doesn't seem to be the case. He's definitely trying to push on and see if he can close that gap as they head back down towards the infield section. And Paul Thurston once again holding the line to hold on to 4th, but he's starting to steadily drop back into the clutches of Tian Darmes in the 301. So maybe not all is well with that number 50 machine. Stefan Hug, meanwhile, has got around. Tony McCallum was running in about 4th or 5th, but he did notice an error whilst you were talking about talking there, Marcus, that did make an error up at the bus stop. Must have misjudged his braking point and dropped a couple of places, and now finds himself sandwiched between Stefan Hug and William Botha in 7th spot. So Stephen Hug is pushing on to try and see how far he can get up through the field. But Ian D. Smythe leading currently at the moment by almost half a second. But certainly, Marcus, Jose Almeida is not letting him run away with this one. He's determined to stick with him, and if he can take advantage of any traffic that Ian D. Smythe might get caught up into, Jose could possibly find himself in the lead again.
Yeah, and as we say that, Smythe takes a wide line coming out of the last turn and backs out of it. He's feathered the brake there, so there's some tactics coming into play from Smythe. We're moving to the last couple of laps of the race. Smythe doesn't want to be in the lead anymore. He doesn't want to be in a position where he can get mugged on the final turn like he did in race 1, and it looked to me very much like he just touched the brake there on the straight and let Almeida up the inside. I don't know whether he'll try and repass him down into turn 1, but if he doesn't, he's going to have Alan Tessier knocking on the back of his head fairly shortly.
Tessier absolutely charging right now. He's got his foot flat to the floor, and he can see possibly the chance to get another victory. And incredibly, he's taking the advantage of a double toe down the pit straight. Huge draft he has on both of these guys. What's he going to do? What's he going to do down here? Well, he might look to the inside of Tessier of Ian D. Smythe, but he's going to follow the wider line on the entry. There's a car exiting the pit road at the moment. If we've got a 3-wide battle going on for 4th place between Thurston, Darmes and Hug, but for the moment we can't really take our eyes off this battle. Now, there is a black car in front of them. Now, is that possibly Matt Malone recovering, because he did deal a fast tow back to the pits? As
yeah, that's the number 22 wheel damage machine of Malone just up front. So
he's now
sorry.
Yeah, so he's that's all right. Sorry, so I'm having one or two connection problems, so my voice sometimes overlaps a little bit. Apologies for that one. But Amanda still leads then on the penultimate lap. But Tessier has put himself in prime position to potentially upset the apple cart here as they head onto the oval. And Amanda didn't get a great exit onto the banking here. So this possibly again, as we saw down the pit straight, prime territory for Tessier, could get another double toe and we could have another new leader by the time we get down to the bus stop.
I think they'll probably stay as they are, to be honest with you. It's the penultimate lap. Everyone's aware of what happened in the last race, and tactics really coming into play. I think Ian D. Smythe has been smarter this time than in the last race, but I don't think he's really allowed for how massive a toe you get if you're the third car in the line. And for my money, if these guys are in the same position 1 lap from now as we exit the bus stop, my money would be on Alan Tessier again to sneak in for the win.
Of course, we saw it in race 1. Tessier made that last ditch move to snatch the lead from Smythe, and he might try it again here. Let's see what his tactics are. And look at that, they're going to pull either side of Almeida. It's a risky move, he can try it. Tessier goes down towards the apron to try and make this move as he goes 3 while he's up the inside of Smythe. Now what can Almeida do to try and be defensive here? Smythe will try the outside line to try and just hold on to that place. But Tessier almost upbreaks, so he touches, and there goes Tessier around. Tessier's sideways, and Thurston will be lucky not to collect him as they head into... And Tessier, I think, will have to recover, but Thurston into 3rd place. Tessier, well, tried hard, but I think possibly didn't anticipate Smythe coming across that much.
Yeah, it was... Again, as we mentioned earlier on, awareness is key, and I don't think Tessier saw Smythe coming in towards him there, and I was maybe distracted and just slightly outbraked himself, and there was side-to-side contact with Smythe. He rear-ended Jose Almeida slightly, and it just sent him around and out the race, and it looks like E&D Smythe now is looking very threatening and very menacing for the win as he just follows Almeida around out of the infield section back onto the oval for the final time.
So, on to the bank for the final time, and Almeida has it, but of course Smythe has that all-important draft. If he can get close enough, as Tessier did on Smythe a lap before, end of race 1, there's always a chance. They still have Matt Malone running and effectively race leader pace in front of him because he's not slow, and Smythe has had a much better run through the bus stop, and here he comes. This is going to be prime position. Almeida is literally a sitting duck. He might get a small toe from Malone if he's quick enough, but I don't think it's going to be enough. They head out turn 4. Here comes Smythe to the outside. It's going to be another photo finish down towards the line. Almeida and Smythe with their foot flat to the floor. Get ready for the cameras. We're going to find ourselves an incredibly close finish. A drag race down towards the line, side by side. Who's going to get it? Smythe gets his nose in front, and Smythe takes the win by incredibly 21 thousandths of a second from Jose Almeida. Paul Thurston gets 3rd, 4.5 seconds back. William Botha is 4th. Mackie Dawson rounding out the top 5 with Stefan Hug in 6th, and Alain Tessier, after his spin at turn 2 in the final lap, ends up in 7th position. Stanimir Zuzov 8th, Benjamin Gregory 9th, and Daniel Hunt just taking 8th on the line. Another close finish behind. I think that was between possibly Richard Wild and Ciccaldi in 14th and 15th, separated by just 18 thousandths of a second. So, but what an incredible, or just even more by about a 10th of a second. But what an incredible finish once again, Marcus. Daytona is certainly proving that if you want to make a move on the last lap, that's the place to do it, right at the end towards the line.
Yeah, as we said, it's all about positioning, and credit to E&D Smythe. He got outthought in the last race, and he learned from that, and he'd realised what he needed to do. To be fair, he was done a little bit of a favour by the coming together he had with Alain Tessier the lap before, because certainly if Tessier had been, as I say, 3rd in that line with those cars running so close together, you get an epic draft 2 cars back. But a fantastic job by Smythe. A couple of great overtakes going into turn 1 around the outside, and he put himself where he needed to be. And as the race came into the closing stages, he did exactly what needed to be done to get the win.
I think also And I think also in some ways that you have to feel sorry a little bit for Alain Tessier, of course. He had such a great drive from 10th on the grid. He got himself up into potentially a race-winning position, and all of a sudden, just that little small lack of awareness that we talked about a few times now just seemed to get the better of him. The side-to-side contact with Smythe, and you'd be surprised how easy it is to spin these rough track cars, because effectively, if you just get them on, if you just touch them in the incorrect piece of bodywork, and it'll just take them straight around.
Yeah, having the engines at the back is all very well from a traction point of view, but of course it creates that pendulum effect that you quite famously get with mid-engine rear-wheel drive race cars, and the slightest touch on that rear panel will just send the car spinning round. And unfortunately, if the back starts to slide, there isn't the weight in the front or the grip in the tyres to stop it from happening. So a fairly innocuous looking contact like the one we saw there can just send you spinning off into the wall in these things.
So let's take a final rundown of the race results for the second race of the evening, round 8 of the Season 2 BSR Carrera Cup. And the win goes to E&D Smythe in the 0-6 by 21 thousandths of a second from Jose Almeida, stealing it once again on the line like we saw in race 1 with Alain Tessier doing it to E&D Smythe. Now he gets just reward to do it to another driver himself. Paul Thurston rounds up the podium after starting on pole position. He finishes 4.5 seconds back, with William Botha in 4th in the 302, and rounding out the top 5, Matthew Dalton in the 54. Rest of the top 10, 6th is Stefan Hug, the man who I believe still leads the championship, or may not be in this case if Ian D. Smythe has taken the victory in that one, could have taken more points away from him. Alain Tessier, so close, was one more lap away from possibly getting onto the podium, but has to settle for 7th after a last lap collision with Ian D. Smythe at turn 2. Stanimir Zuzov, great drive through the field to get himself up to 8th place in the 134, and Benjamin Gregory 9th in the 613, and Daniel Hunt rounding out the top 10 in the 07. Let's look at the rest of the top 20. We have also in there 11th Robert Plumley in the 147, 12th Edmund K. Friedman, 13th was Clark Preck, 14th Richard Wild, 15th Matteo Cicaldi, 16th was Tien Dames, where he slipped down quite a lot in the last couple of laps, possibly a collision with somebody down the order. Also, we had William Pinar in 17th, Laura Bond up in 18th place, great job from her in the 32. Then 19th, Robert Bursley in the 05, and Cyril Thomas in the 888 rounds out the top 20. Notable mentions down the field, we had Gary Tolan 21st after his first lap collision. Michael Stephen also had a spin somewhere and dropped down the order to 22nd place.
Sutton 34th after his accident.
Absolutely, 5 laps down as well, also same as Harold Ertas. And as for Matt Malone, he was right up there leading at one point. He was only classified 24th, not lapped at all, but he was the last man on the lead lap. 1 minute and 46.293 seconds behind the eventual race winner, of course, being Ian D. Smythe. So there's the coverage for the second race. To join us for race 3, it'll be back up at 10 past 10 in just a few minutes, so be sure to stick around. And for myself and Marcus, we'll see you for the final race of the evening here at Daytona.